No one's going to come to your website, click on a button, and purchase a $50 million contract from you. But what they're going to do is they're going to use your website as a tool to get to know you, to get to trust you, and then get to like you. And that's why I'm very, very happy to welcome to Construction Genius, Buzz Basinski. That's a great name. He's a lifelong entrepreneur and a digital marketing thought leader, and he's also a best-selling author. And his company is all about helping you to develop website strategies that attract and convert the right clients with the right projects in the right locations. And if you want to learn how to do that practically from a strategic point of view, listen to this episode. This is an episode I think that you can listen to twice at least because of the variety of different tactics and strategies that we talk about. And what you need to know is how to nail your voice, how to know your numbers, how to grow your business with the right clients and the right projects in the right locations. I'll repeat that again and again. And Buzz knows how to help you with that. So take careful notes if you're not driving and listen to it more than once and share it with other people in your organization who would benefit from listening. Let's dive right into that interview. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Buzz, welcome to Construction Genius.
Thank you, Eric. I'm assuming you're the genius because there's only two of us here.
It's funny. I know I've said this before on this show, but people ask me sometimes, that's a cocky name for a business, Construction Genius. And so I tell them it comes from the Edison quote that genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. In my view, my clients and the folks in construction who are listening to the show, these guys are the geniuses. I'm just adding that 1% of inspiration and help. And that's why you and I are chatting here today. You're an expert when it comes to website marketing, and I'd like to kick it right off by asking you, what is the biggest misunderstanding that commercial contractors have when it comes to website marketing?
The biggest misunderstanding is that in commercial contractors think that everything has to do with their connections face-to-face, which is partially true.
Yes.
Problem is that they forget is that when people meet you or they're introduced to you and you have an initial conversation, they're getting to know you and they want to know more. We do business with people we know, which is the first part. We got to meet you. Yeah, hopefully you had a good conversation there, but then the trust issue. And short of hiring somebody right off the bat, which general contractors are not just going, oh, yeah, you have a license. Okay, you can go work on my big project. That's just not going to happen. No, they're going to go do some research on there. They're going to take a look at what other people say about you. They're going to look at some of the work you've done and all those types of things. Guess where they're going to go to first, though? They're going to go to your website. The misconception is that people don't do that when their statistics show that over 67% of all B2B transactions start with a search query to find somebody's website. And what you have on your website then becomes who you are. Because remember, most people don't realize that our websites are the only salesperson who say exactly what we want them to say every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They never take a vacation. It never asks for a raise. It never complains. And yet we ignore it. General contractors are notorious for it because they see it as an expense, a line item expense versus a profit center.
Let's talk about that. The idea of no trust is a theme that we've hit on here before. What would you say are the vital elements on a website that help to build trust when someone's visiting? And we're thinking about immediately, how do you really get that hook in there?
The biggest thing we could it's the talking to your perfect client versus talking about who you are. I love the saying that says, nobody cares what you know until they know how much you care. And now in commercial contracting, we're not very touchy-feely people, right?
Right.
But we're still human beings.
Yep.
We're human beings. We connect with other people just like everybody else. Now, we might do it in a different fashion, which is fine. That's how we approach that verbiage that we're going to put on the top of our webpage, but we still have to connect. If we're talking about a website that is trying to attract a certain type of either a general contractor or a subcontractor, whoever your perfect client is, and we can talk about that in a minute, when we're constructing the top part of our website, the hook is not features, not services, not about us, not about anybody else we've done business with, not about any of that stuff. Connection. I'm in the right place with the right people. Now I want to know more.
Connection, that sounds a little fuzzy and warm and fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? Tell us what you mean by connection.
Sure. I have a client who is a fractional CFO, Chief Financial Officer for commercial construction companies. The first thing he says on the top of his page is the Contractors fractional CFO. If you're a contractor and you're looking for a CFO, you've now connected two dots. I'm in the right place. And that's his slogan. That's everywhere it is. So when you sit there and say, hey, who's Aaron? Oh, Aaron's the contractor CFO. What does that mean? Oh, he helps people like double their profitability, and they go through that whole process there. What is in it for me? If I'm not looking for a fractional CFO, or I'm not looking for a CFO or anything even remotely related to financial help with my contracting company, I'm in the wrong place.
Can I ask you about that specifically?
But if I have any of those needs...
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because
sure.
One of the instincts that contractors have sometimes is being all things to all people. Do you do this? Yes. Do you do that? Yes. On my website, then what happens is you go to a commercial contractor, whether it's a sub or a GC, and you look at all the stuff that they do. What are they really good at? And we're good at everything. That's not true. How do you help people overcome the challenge of having to pick sort of one message? What's the logic behind that?
That goes into one of the objectives of the Rule 26.
Okay.
And we can discuss the actual rule itself, but one of the objectives is to increase your average revenue per client. And in doing that, we actually exercise this workshop that identifies the most profitable clients a company has. See, we make money usually with most, like there's cash flow pretty much in every job, but not all jobs are profitable.
Yes, absolutely.
And not all clients are a pleasure to serve, right?
Yep.
If we're dealing with a lot of clients that this comes from trying to be everything to everyone. The first year you're in business, you're getting all the business you possibly can because you need to pay the bills.
That's right.
In the second year, you start going, you know what? We really don't like this. You either price yourself out or you just say, we're not accepting proposals right now, or we're not giving proposals right now. As you get more mature, you start looking at the swap of, do I accept some that are a little painful? Because as the owner, I don't have to do all of those jobs anymore. Or do I just stick with the ones we all love? Now, there is a wear and tear on your people dealing with what we call the PITAs. We all know what PITA is, right?
No, I don't.
PITA.
PITA, what is that?
That's pain in the arse.
Oh, the pain in the ass customers. I think they use even more blunt language in construction.
There you go. Yes. You actually have in our project management system a PITA discount. And when we say discount, we mean a banker's discount. Because when a banker gives you a discount, you charge more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's okay. But the problem is this. We can charge more to our PITA, but what is the wear and tear on the psychology of all of the people involved in that job? You're sucking the life out of your people, which makes them more inefficient. And when the less inefficient they are, the less profitable they are. And your turnover goes up and all that. This is the waterfall of issues right there. So when we're looking for the type of client that is a good fit functionally and profitably, whoo! Now, why would you not want to only talk to those types of people? Because I promise you this, there's more business for all of us than we can even imagine. The trick now is getting the right business to the right customers, to the right service providers. Period. End of story. And that's why it's a mindset shift to say, listen, you don't need all of the business because you could actually do less business and make more money if you're only doing business with the most profitable of the prospects.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true in construction, as I know my listeners know. Help me with this then, Buzz, because if I'm an owner with a $50 million project and I'm looking for a GC to run the project, I'm not going to click here and buy now thing when I go to the website. So I'm not buying something off of Amazon or anything like that. So it's not click here and buy now. Not to get too granular too quickly, but what kind of calls to action or what sort of process are you looking to take someone through when you're looking to engage them and to build trust when it comes to selling high-ticket commercial construction projects?
It's a beautiful question. When we're dealing with commercial contracting, and the website is not necessarily there to sell anything, it's to inform. The person who's coming to your website as a commercial contractor, who is looking for your service as a commercial contractor, is looking to understand more about you, whether you're likable and trustworthy. There are 3 elements that we need to put in there. First, we talked about connection. So once we've made the connection, we say, okay, this is the right type of general contractor, because general contractor is too general. We are the ex-general contractor of this industry. Ooh, I'm in that industry. I like that. Boom, done, go. Once we've identified that, now we can start sitting there and say, these are the problems that we solve for our clients. This is why people love doing business with us. And we're describing the types of work that we are the most proficient at / profitable / most enjoyable for our whole staff to do. And so now they're going, oh, I have that problem. I have that problem. I have that problem. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. They can solve a lot of my problems here. Great. Now they understand that you care. They understand that you're the solution. And now you're going to give some social proof. You're going to show some of the work, maybe some case studies, maybe some pictures of some of the projects you've worked on, depending on what type of contractor you are. But I can find pictures of work of any type of contractor and to put on a website. And the people who know. When you put like electrical contractors, brand new circuit, ooh, they ran the conduit nice and pretty. They had all of the cables nice and pretty. All of those things. How a plumber does the foundation. Does that actually line up with stuff? All of the little idiosyncrasies that make you the expert at what you do, you want to show that with pictures as much as possible. And you want to show other people talking about how good of a job you did, how efficient you were, how personable the staff was. They showed up on time. They showed up with clean uniforms. Sometimes is a big deal when you're dealing with reconstruction or remodeling and stuff like that, especially in commercial areas like hospitals and whatnot. All of those things count, and they're all little pieces of a bigger puzzle. And what you're doing is you're painting a picture of the perfect contractor, subcontractor, or general contractor. When I leave that, I might reach out to you through your thing. Hey, let's talk. But you probably already have my information. You're probably just going to use whatever email or phone number you already have on a business card somewhere or jotted down from what somebody sent you. But the website did its purpose. Now, if you are a contractor who has more pieces to the sales process, then you're going to have call to actions that will make them make micro transactions. These could be the checklist of picking the perfect electrical contractor.
And what do you mean 5 things to look for when you're picking the perfect electrical contractor? Or what pitfalls of hiring a general contractor and how to avoid them?
Exactly. And something like that is basically just a reiteration. They're just check marks of all the set of bullet points of all the things you just described on your website. And then they make the discussion.
I think one of the mistakes I've seen over the years is that marketers or whatever they're selling, they think they know what their clients' problems are. But then when they don't know what the client's problems are, really, they assume what they are. They don't address them first. They just do features and benefits, but they don't do anything linking it to a problem. And if they do know what the client's problems are, they don't really understand them in the words that the client would use. How is it that I, number one, really understand my client's problems? And then number two, how do I articulate them in such a way that it resonates with the client as opposed to just resonating with me?
Right, exactly. Assuming we understand our clients is the biggest mistake in marketing, just like you said. Spot on. What we forget to do is talk to our clients when we're doing market research. Literally just having a conversation. What do you like doing? Why do you keep coming back to us? Why are we the top contractor on your list? Why am I the first person you call? And just listen. Take note of the actual words they use. Now, with that, then you're going to go and do some other market research. But the first step is to listen to your current perfect clients and listen to how they say things and what vernacular they use to say it. Because what they say and how they say it is the most crucial part. Because if you start talking like your perfect client on your website and your perfect prospect comes to your websites and starts reading what is in their brain, what kind of connection did you just make? I'm home. Man, these people talk my language. Eric, you and I were talking earlier, and we were talking about, I can trust you. Like, I know those words. I love those words. You're talking my language. Let's go. Boom. You want to do the same thing for the services you provide every time.
As simple as just talking to your clients and asking them why they do business with you?
100%. Why do you like doing business with us? What makes us better than the other contractors you work with? What can we do better? When I do market research, I don't just do market research to get more clients like them, I'm looking at ways I can provide better value to my current clients as well. I had a creative agency where we were the general contractor of marketing. So we did it all. There were people who did business with us for years that didn't know we did everything we did because we did not talk to our clients enough. We didn't ask, what other services could we provide that would be valuable to you?
Let me ask you though, if I'm a general contractor, I know general contractors and they build healthcare, they build life sciences, they might do commercial ground up, which are all very different types of projects. And I want all of those people to contact me. And someone comes to the front page of my website and it's not just like, hey, I replaced Windows and this is the window and call me. It's a much more complex than that. How does someone structure a website when their offerings are complex and they're in different segments of the market?
When you start talking about market segmentation, that's when you have a nice, pretty link up at the top that says industries served. And then, industries, plural. And they said the right thing here. We're this type of contractor and we work with these types of X. Now, if you're not in a single industry, then you're going to have to go step back how targeted you are with your opening line on your top of your page. So that's fine.
I'm curious about is, let's assume that I at least need to be able to capture someone's interest so that they look at the industry served, but there's multiple types of people. What is an example of a good tagline that might hook people from different industries so that they do click on that industry? I know I'm getting a little granular here, but that they do go to that industry served tag. What do I do there?
Well, that depends. There's a lot of assumptions that we would have to go into because that hook, and remember, we need to understand who our perfect client is. There's got to be a common thread between all three of those industries for you to properly market to all three of them at the same time. If there isn't, that's a bigger problem. And you haven't truly identified why all three, because there's only one most profitable. If you're really being honest about which one's the most profitable all the way down to the end, it's kind of like when we look at the NFL, you have everybody's got the same scores as far as the wins, losses. Then they go to the tiebreaker and then the tiebreaker and the tiebreaker. You might need to get down to that granular and get in there because if you get all your marketing really good on that one and you start nailing that faster versus fishing in 5 different parts of the pond at one time, you only have one pole. Use that pole. Now, I have seen people where they'll use visuals of 3 different types of structures that they like to work on or representation of 3 different industries they like to work with one combining hook across all 3 of those images.
A combining hook, for instance, and this is a very simple one, could be, because when I talk to my clients about being profitable, it's right client, right project, right location. What it could be is that if you're located in just one area, but doing a variety of different projects, it could be the general contractor of choice in this geographic location or something like that. That's just throwing out an idea.
Exactly. That's super easy. And the nice thing about that is SEO. If you're like Iowa, or maybe you're in the Midwest.
What's SEO? Tell us what SEO is.
Search engine optimization.
What's that?
So sometimes people don't know. They know the problem, but they don't know who. Not everything is a referral. So it's, I need a general contractor that's this specialty. Ooh, if you have a specialty, that's really good because you might not know that person and nobody else is, I don't know. Or Bob is a guy, but he's so busy right now, you're not going to get him for 6 months. Okay, great. Now I got to go to the internet and start looking. This is where that other 67% of people are doing. They're going, I'm looking for this specialty contractor for this type of work. Okay, boom. Now, if your hook is, I am this specialty type of contractor in this area, and you're spelling out what the area is, and they're in that area, guess what? And all the other things are aligned, you're going to be the one that comes up at the top. And guess what it's saying? The best of the ... in the dot. Oh, shoot, that's what I'm looking for. Boom.
And when you're saying SEO, what's important is that has a lot to do with the back end stuff that you're doing on your website. And again, I'm not trying to get too granular, but what I'd like to say to the audience is that if you don't know what SEO is, you need to find out and you need to get someone in your business or someone from an outside consulting company to help you with that in terms of how you set up your website. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff there.
And you can give me a holler. If you don't have somebody already, we'll make sure that my email's there. And I give a free consultation to get you started so you at least know what that looks like and what you can expect from it.
Hey, this is Eric. Hope you're enjoying my interview with Buzz. I know that I am. And just a quick timeout in the middle of the interview to remind you about my book, Construction Genius: Effective, Hands-On, Practical, Simple, No BS Leadership, Strategy, Sales, and Marketing Advice for Construction Companies. Let me tell you one thing that many companies are doing. I got an email this week from one general contractor, and he has bought copies for all of his executive team, and they're going to read the book together, discuss it on a regular basis so that they can glean the lessons that the book has to teach and help them develop as a leadership team. So run out to Amazon, grab yourself a copy. It's a very short book. That is, let me see how many pages. Hold on a second. I'm going to check on the pages here. 175. Yeah, just about 175. So it's not going to take you all day to learn, but the information in here is tremendously useful and it will help you to be a better leader. So let's get back to my interview with Buzz. Let's go back up to some of the stuff we were talking about. One of the things that you talked about in terms of building that social proof was like testimonials. In your experience, what is the best way to get a testimonial? And should that testimonial, in your view, be video, be written, audio? Give us a little bit about that.
The short answer is yes, all of the above. I did one actually for my fractional CFO, and he had an electrical contractor who just loved the work he did. They did a bunch of work for him. I'm in there and I'm doing some work for his client on their branding. And then while I was there, I said, hey, can we just set up the camera here and let's talk about the work that Aaron's doing for you? And he goes, oh, sure, let's do that. Okay, cool. And at first, do you have questions? Like, we're just going to have a conversation. Hey, how did you first meet Aaron? How'd you find Aaron? What did you like about Aaron? What kind of work did Aaron do for you? What's the outcome of what Aaron's work has done for your company? Simple questions. Keep it conversational. And then you have a video editor, cut that all into a little pretty montage of awesomeness. And you put that and you mix it in with a written, you can either transpose what they said in verbally into a written form right below that. And then what I like to do is then have a case study right below that, so that it spells out the ABCs of what that happened. If you're a type of contractor who is really good at efficiencies towards, hey, listen, you're already over budget and your last contractor screwed the pooch. Now you don't have all the money in the world to get ... I'm not going to cut off my nose despite your profits, but I will do XYZ for you so your bleeding is less. And so in my case studies, if I'm that type of person, I'm going to put out how I'm the most efficient X contractor because I do extra and you're going to show that case study right there as proof.
Okay. So that's interesting. So you got video, you've got the transcription of the video in some sort of written form, and then underneath that, a case study. So there's a sort of a triple fold effect there of building that credibility, building not just the know, but the like and the trust.
And the pictures, so that because pictures are worth 1,000 words. So now I'm going to show you the work that actually happened. So we know this wasn't just some actor. It's like, oh, that's actually the work they did. That is really cool. And if it is a notable project in your area that people are like, oh, I know that building. Make sure you put the building out, the outside of the building. You might not have built the building, but the building is what people know. They don't know the circuitry. They don't know the plumbing. They don't know the floors. They don't know the ceiling. The drywall they don't care about. But all of those things came into building that building, and that's what everybody sees.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, now, unfortunately, I know a lot of contractors have spent a bunch of money on their websites, and because they're not experts, it's, dude, I'm going to build my next project. I'm going to make sure we make some money on it. And here, let me write a check and give it to some dude to do something about my website. What are the biggest pitfalls that contractors come across when they're looking to upgrade their website, and how might they be able to avoid some of those pitfalls?
If you have a website that's not performing right now, the worst thing you can do is hire another web developer. I don't care how big of a firm it is. If they are not a marketing strategist, like Buzzworthy, we're an integrated marketing firm. Website building is something we do as a result of the strategies we create, not the other way around. Because there's two types of web developers out there. There are web designers, and then there are coders. The people who are good at making things pretty versus the people who can make things work. Very few have firms that do both. And those are the bigger firms, and they're great, but they're tactical. If you don't have all the marketing strategy in line, all they're doing is feeding off what you have. If they just take a look at your website, maybe have a copywriter pretty it up, but there's no marketing research to back up the strategy and the approach and the voice and all these other things, then you've just prettied up a pile of shit. You just polish poop.
It's great. So let me ask you this. We're talking strategy, which is big picture. What are the pillars of a good web strategy, the fundamentals that I've got to nail?
You got to nail your voice. All the things we've talked up to this point is the fundamentals of a good message. Market research, being specific, being clear. It's a big thing. Those three things right there are like gold. Most people don't do that. They go, me, we, it's all about me. I've been in business for 30 years. Who cares if you sucked for 30 years? Nobody cares until they know how much you care.
You got to nail your voice. But what's interesting about that is when we think about that, we then think of me speaking. What you're telling us, from what I can understand, it's not when you've nailed your voice, it's the prospect or the client or the target person speaking on your website. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So there's a book by Donald Miller called Story Brand. I actually have it up on my bookshelf behind me here. And it talks about making your prospect the hero. So in contracting, it's a beautiful thing because usually the person looking for the solution is the person who's been tasked to be the hero. If you can make them the hero in the narrative on your website, they now put themselves into the hero's journey. They see their success through your services. They're buying their success, not your services at that point.
Say that again, because what you just said is really important. Say it slower and give us a little more on that.
If we put ourselves in our prospect's shoes, they have been tasked to be a hero and solve a problem. If they come to your website and they can see their success through your services, they are now buying their success, not your service.
Okay, so that's fundamental right there. Okay, so they can see their success through your services and they're buying their success, not your services.
It's tricky. Once you nail it, it's beautiful.
Okay, so then we've talked about a little bit about how to find that voice in terms of market research. What are the biggest mistakes people make in market research?
They don't talk to their clients. They actually go out and they look at other competitors in other regions that are very successful in the same niche. While that is one piece of it, your perfect clients in your region. Not all perfect clients in every region are the same. I had this is not in the same industry, but I had a financial advisor that was, take that back. I had a general contractor in Illinois who looked at what a general contractor in Florida was doing. And he says, I want the same website as that guy. I just want our pictures. And I looked at what they were talking about down there and I'm like, they're doing different work than you do up here. It's a different region. They build things different. They have to deal with different problems and all the other things that go along with it. The narrative's going to be completely off. I don't care. That's what I want. Sorry, we're not going to do it. Well, why won't you do it? I was like, because it's going to be crap and my name's going to be on it. That's no go. I've been in business for 17 years by doing good work, not just taking people's money. We had to pass on that because they didn't want to do it. I had another general contractor who took a look at 3 different types of contracting because he did all 3 of those types of contracting. And then he said, I want to get a little bit of each of them on my website, but then he didn't have anything to back it up. You're not going to be able to do any of that search engine optimization without any content to back that up. Because if you have nothing to search on your website, there's nothing for the search engine to pick up. Sorry, we can't do that project because you're not willing to admit that you don't have the expertise that you're trying to say you. And that's the biggest thing is trying to stretch it, fake it till you make it mentality. No go anymore. People can figure that stuff out way too fast. And there's been too many cons in every industry now that people are skeptical and they will go to the next step to see if they see any kinks in your armor.
So tell me, how can someone take those first steps then to begin to recreate their website or improve their website, hone in their message, find their voice so that they can begin to drive revenue, maybe not directly, but indirectly through their website?
A lot of what we've talked about today, we went over a lot of stuff. If you're listening to this show, just listen to it a couple more times because...
Yeah, right. Totally, dude. There's some gems in here.
Eric brought up some really good points and he pulled out really good points from me that I usually don't even get to talk about. So this has been a gorgeous show for the people listening here. But what we should do is then summarize a little bit of those first steps. The first thing is start talking to your clients, your perfect clients, the ones that everybody's face lights up when they hear their name. When you're anxious to answer the phone, when you see them on the caller ID, when you don't avoid opening up their email in your inbox, those people are the ones that we want to talk to. Take them to lunch. Just have a conversation. Have drinks with them. Do something nice for them and show them that you appreciate it. And during those conversations, find out why they appreciate you. Because it's a symbiotic relationship. And those symbiotic relationships are the ones that are going to make you or take you from a 50 million company to a $100 million company. Because you're just going to replicate the most successful and most efficient relationships. And that sounds a little cold. Efficient and relationship shouldn't be in the same, not juxtaposed usually, but that is what we're looking for. We're looking for the natural fits. The harder you have to make that connection, the more work it's going to be to do that work. It's like the magnets are on two polars. They're repelling each other. So that's your first step. Get clear with that. And then find out how many of those you have. And then look at your market and say, how many of those could we have? Once that information,
Where do I look? How do I find out that number?
if you're 50 million, you already know. Like every contractor I know that's at 50 million knows their market. They just don't know how to get to their market. And they haven't played with things like account-based marketing. And that could be another show altogether right there. But when we look at that and go, well, shoot, there's not a lot of those here. So does that mean we need to widen our footprint? Or do we need to take a look at the second most profitable relationships that we have? And maybe there's more there. Okay, so that's fine. You basically milked the unicorn for all it's got. If you can't find enough of the perfect, okay, then let's get close to perfect and find ways we can make those relationships more perfect. They won't be as good as our unicorn, but at least we can work on making them better for ourselves. And then you do that. Once you have that, then call somebody like me, and you can call me. I'd love to work with people that are in construction. I have clients that have been with me for 12 years, went from 7 million to 15 million, 15 million, 50 million. That's the growth is about a lot of the work that we're doing at the forefront. Then it's just working through the industry changes over the years. Everybody knows construction has changed a lot in 12 years, right? That's not a problem. But get somebody who can strategize for you. If you have a marketing director, have them research somebody. Don't use your marketing director. They're a director, not a strategist. You can use your director to execute strategy. So like I have clients, I don't know how big they are. They're in over the 50 million mark. They have a full marketing department. They bring me in to talk to their team once a month to keep them on strategic trajectories that are going to be profitable for their company. That's all I do. We can facilitate what I would call the mom and pop, where it's like everybody's operational and they've been basically just built upon the relationships of the owner or maybe a couple of account managers, project managers, and all the way up to full-fledged. They've got a full C-suite, the whole 9 yards.
Tell me a little bit about the Rule of 26, because I know that's a book you've published, and I think it has a lot to do with what we've talked about here today. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Real quick, the Rule of 26 states that if you increase your average revenue per client by 26%, your conversion rate from your website by 26%, the unique revenues from your website by 26%, you will get a compounded output of 100% more revenues from your website. And that's not necessarily a buy now, none of that stuff. All the stuff we talked about here is creating revenue for your website.
But that takes time. That's the thing, isn't it?
It does. This is not the .com era taught us that mega million or billion-dollar companies, they don't all grow overnight. It takes time. Even Facebook, it was not profitable for at least 7 years. They were evaluated for their future ability to make money, but they were not profitable for a long time. And in service-based businesses, and that's what I focus on only, and contracting is the biggest ones in this, it's not like you're going to be able to just go, oh, we're going to double up you don't have the infrastructure, I bet. Most do not have the infrastructure to double up in 1 year. You want to grow smart and grow profitably. Believe me, I built multi-million-dollar companies because I was growing. I was too good at marketing and not good enough on my operations. And it's crap. We got to throw that away. And now I got to rebuild it so that I get the infrastructure right as we go back up.
So it's interesting because we've been talking about here is the whole idea of people buying from people that they know, like, and trust, and how our website, even in the commercial contracting space, is a vital element of developing relationships with people in that way. As we're ending the interview here, Buzz, what would you say are the 2 or 3 things, and feel free to summarize things that you've already said, but what are the 2 or 3 things that I, as the president of my construction company, need to focus on right away to make a difference in terms of my website presence?
The most interesting piece, I talk about it in my book, is understanding your own numbers. Most people don't even know what their website is doing. The one thing you can do right now, because everybody has a website, and if they don't, they're probably not, they're in a different echelon, and that's okay. Now we have to just deal with getting you a website. But most of us have websites. Probably 9 out of 10 of us do.
Everyone listening has a website. I can promise you that.
Okay, go. With that said, you have somebody who built that for you. hopefully you'll be able to talk to that person and get your Google Analytics connected to it so that you can see the traffic that is coming to your website and what's happening with that traffic on your website. They can do that in an hour and then have them show you what those numbers are. Have them explain it to you. And if they can't, give me a call. I offer it in my book too. This is not just a special, like getting in touch with you. My big thing is this. If you don't understand your numbers, you don't understand how to market because you don't know what you're trying to do. You don't know what the goal is. And without a goal, you're just aimlessly going around going, oh, I hope something works. And then you're just hoping for another unicorn and just stumble into it. No, we need to understand where you stand now and how bad or good is your situation with your website, because that can dictate what your next step is. So I say the first thing to do is to get clear or at least look at your numbers and understand what they're telling you.
If you can, this may not be possible, but tell me 3 numbers that I should be looking at when I'm trying to understand my numbers.
Perfect question. I love this question. One is unique visitors. So a lot of times when we connect our Google Analytics, or whoever does that for you, they forget to do this one thing. And it's very easy to do. And if you're doing your own, you can Google how to do this. You want to filter out the bots. Bots are just pieces of code that come in and they crawl our sites to then report back to the search engines to say, this is what's going on this website. For those who don't know, we need to filter out the bots so we can see the human beings that are going to buy from us. How many of those are actually coming to our sites? How many new users versus repeat users? So new users means that what I'm doing in getting the word out is working. Repeat users means that what I'm saying is useful and people are coming back for more information. So unique visitors is number 1. Then you want to take a look at conversion rate. Now, that's going to be a little more work because you're going to have your IT or your web developer set up what conversions are for your website. Is it a click to call from your website? Is it a contact us form? Is it a sign up for our newsletter? If you have a newsletter, most contractors don't, but some type of call to action. It could be that checklist to download. You give them an email, you get the download, or you email them the download so that you at least have that. Boom, done. Okay. So any of that. Okay. And then the third is your bounce rate. Now your bounce rate is the rate at which users come to your site and don't take any action, and then that's a bounce rate. You don't want your bounce rate to be more than 51%. The lower, the better.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, so unique visitors, conversion rate, and then bounce rate. Those are the 3 numbers I need to look at right away.
Right away, because that'll really tell you that without looking at any other numbers and going very far into a bunch of analytics right this second, those will tell you whether or not your homepage is connecting with your visitors, how many visitors you're actually getting, and if they are connecting, are they taking action? You could make it to where if they go to your contact us page, that's a conversion. Whatever you consider a win is there. Make that part there.
Okay, so that's a good point for everyone to understand because they're thinking, well, dude, I don't have 1 million people calling me for contracts and I wouldn't want that either. But a win, whatever a win is, that's a conversion. So maybe they watched a video or they read a blog post or they might call you a year from now when the project really gets going kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of contractors forget is that all that time we talk about all the projects that could happen and then the ones that actually happen. That research they're doing on somebody's website. It should be yours.
Yes, they are. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Buzz, you've been tremendously helpful. I know this is very practical and people will be able to, like you said earlier, listen again to this session because there's a lot of information. Just tell us a little bit more about your company and how people can get in touch with you, please.
Sure. Buzzworthy Integrated Marketing is a strategy-first digital marketing firm, and we help service-based businesses increase the profitability of their online presence. My book that you can check us out at buzzworthy.biz. My email is buzz@buzzworthy.biz. And if you'd like to check out the Rule of 26, you can go to ruleof26.com. It's on Amazon as well.
Excellent. All those links will be in the show notes so you all can check it out. Buzz, where are you out of, by the way? You're located?
Springfield, Illinois.
Okay. Springfield, Illinois.
Of all places. I lived in Alaska for 17 years, a recent transplant.
I think I knew people back in the day in Springfield, but let me ask you this. If I'm visiting Springfield, what's the one restaurant I need to hit?
For which meal? It depends. For breakfast?
Dinner. I'm going out to dinner. Taking a client to dinner.
Vele is a very nice restaurant. If you're just going to go for hors d'oeuvres and craft cocktails, you're going to go to Curate. If you're going to get a horseshoe, which is very popular in Illinois, you're going to go to Charlie Parker's on First Street.
What's a horseshoe?
So a horseshoe is usually, it's either a big piece of toast or a bed of French fries that's covered in a meat and then cheese.
Oh,
it's so good.
oh man.
And you have breakfast shoes. Then they have dinner shoes. So you can put eggs on top, a whole 9 yards. It is a gut bomb to be savored. I like mine with tater tots. So I do tater tots cheese. And then some people put gravy on top instead of cheese, or cheese and gravy and meat and fries. And
I have never heard of horseshoes before. That is new. So Charlie Parker's there. What was the first one you said, though? The nice one. What was that? Like the high-end one?
Vele, Vele. That's a high-end, just Americana fusion restaurant. Awesome craft mixed drinks, good wine if you like wine, but all of their food is basically farm to table style, but they do it all really well. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
So good food.
Awesome.
And then Curate is all tapas, same style, but just bites. So it's more about drinking than it is eating. Their bartenders they train, I think, with the same folks.
Excellent.
Really good bars to go to.
Buzz, I really appreciate you coming on the show. You've been very helpful, very insightful, and I do wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening to my discussion with Buzz here today. Feel free to check out his website, buzzworthy.biz, and all the links to contacting him will be in the show notes. Keep in mind, he has that book, The Rule of 26, and that can give you further insights into how to shape your website marketing strategies. Do me a favor, go to wherever you get your podcasts and give Construction Genius a rating or a review. I'm looking on Apple Podcasts right now. We have 131 ratings and 4.8 stars. And I really appreciate everyone who's given it a rating. If you haven't done that yet, go out to wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever it is, and give us a rating, leave a review. That helps the show to get seen throughout the interwebs. Appreciate you listening to Construction Genius today.